There is something happening inside your body right now that nobody ever sat you down and explained. Not your school, not your doctor, not the culture you grew up in. And the moment you understand it, truly understand it, the way you see yourself, your energy, and your potential will never be the same. This is not mythology. This is not ancient superstition dressed up in modern language. What you are about to hear is rooted in biology, in biochemistry, in the lived experience of thousands of men who made one decision and watched their entire world shift because of it. The decision to retain. Semen retention is not about religion. It is not about fear. It is about understanding what your body is actually doing when it produces, expends, and conserves one of the most biochemically complex substances the human body is capable of creating. And once you understand the timeline, day by day, week by week, you will never look at this the same way again. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Let us start at the very beginning. Day 1. The moment you make the decision to retain. On the surface, nothing feels different. Your body is simply continuing its ordinary rhythms. But beneath the surface, a shift has already begun. Your nervous system, which has been conditioned to a cycle of stimulation and release, begins to recalibrate. Dopamine receptors that have been dulled by repeated cycles of instant gratification start their slow process of resensitization. You may not feel it yet, but the biology has already changed direction. By days 2 through 4, most men report a subtle but unmistakable increase in baseline energy. Not the electric surge that comes later, but a steadiness, a groundedness, the restless, scattered feeling that many men live with constantly begins to quiet. This is your body beginning to redirect resources. The biological energy that was being routinely expelled is now being held, circulated, and repurposed. Your testosterone, which follows a rhythm of its own, begins its upward trend. Studies have shown that testosterone levels peak significantly around day 7 of retention, and that peak is not insignificant. It correlates directly with confidence, drive, assertiveness, and the capacity for sustained effort. Days 5 through 7 are where many men first feel what retention practitioners call the surge. Focus sharpens, motivation increases without effort. The mental fog that is so common, that gray, low-grade flatness that most men accept as normal, begins to lift. You start finishing what you start. You start noticing details you were filtering out before. Your eyes are clearer. Your voice carries more authority, even in casual conversation. This is not placebo. This is your endocrine system operating closer to its actual capacity. You get to know that you didn't need more motivation. You simply needed to stop leaking your energy. Week 2, days 8 through 14, is where the compound effect begins. The testosterone elevation becomes more stable rather than spiking and dropping. Your body, which is an extraordinary adaptive system, starts to understand that this energy is not being released. It begins investing it elsewhere. Collagen production increases, keeps your skin tight, and you look young. This is not myth. This is science-backed. Zinc, a mineral critically concentrated in seminal fluid, is retained in the body and redirected to immune function, skin health, cognitive performance, and cellular repair. Your face changes subtly. Men who practice long-term retention consistently report improvements in skin clarity, jawline definition, and an overall sharpness in their appearance that others notice before they can explain it. Sleep deepens in week 2. not because you are more exhausted, but because your body is doing more meaningful work during rest. Cellular regeneration accelerates. Recovery from physical training improves. If you are working out, you will notice that your gains respond differently. Your body has more raw material to work with, more hormonal signal to build from. The gym becomes a different experience entirely. Days 15 through 21 bring what many men describe as the emotional recalibration. This stage is profound and sometimes uncomfortable. As your nervous system continues to resensitize, emotions that were previously numbed or flattened begin to return with more range and clarity. You may feel more appreciation, more ambition, more urgency. The creative impulse, which is deeply connected to sexual energy in ways that ancient traditions and modern neuroscience both confirm, begins to intensify. Artists create more, entrepreneurs move faster, writers find their voice. The energy does not disappear, it transmutes. Drop this in the comments. This energy was always mine. I just kept giving it away. By day 30, you have crossed a threshold that most men never reach, and the effects at this stage are no longer subtle. Your baseline confidence has restructured. Not the performance of confidence, the actual internal state that produces it. You walk differently. You make decisions more cleanly. The social anxiety that many men carry as background noise has reduced significantly. Eye contact becomes natural rather than effortful. You speak with more precision because your mind is operating with less static. Your libido, the sexual urge, which many men fear will disappear during retention, does not diminish at 30 days. It transforms. The desperate, scattered, urgency-driven energy that characterized it before becomes something more deliberate, more directed. This is the difference between a scattered fire and a focused flame. The heat is the same. The power is entirely different. At day 45, the biochemical changes have had time to create structural shifts. Neurological pathways that were conditioned to cycles of reward and release have been significantly rewired. The dopamine system, which governs your capacity for motivation, satisfaction, and pursuit, is now operating with greater sensitivity. Things that once felt flat begin to feel engaging again. Real food tastes better. Nature feels more present. Music lands differently. This is not spiritual metaphor. This is your reward circuitry recovering its full range of response after being chronically overstimulated. Men at 45 days consistently report a change in how others respond to them. There is something in the eyes, a presence, a density of attention that other people feel without being able to name it. Leadership qualities become more visible. People listen more carefully when you speak. This is the biological magnetism that retention practitioners have described across cultures and centuries. And now the science of pheromonal signaling, testosterone-driven vocal tone, and presence-based social dominance is beginning to provide the framework to understand why. Now begins the actual game. Day 60 brings clarity of a different order. By this point, the men who have stayed consistent report something that is difficult to articulate but universally described: a sense of being more fully inhabited, more present in their own life. The dissociation and numbness that chronic overstimulation creates, that sense of watching your life rather than living it, has significantly reduced. You are here, fully, and from that full presence, decisions are different, relationships are different, your relationship with yourself is different. Physical markers at 60 days include measurable improvements in hair thickness and growth rate related to DHT and zinc retention. Skin elasticity and tone continue to improve. Muscle retention between training sessions is stronger. Resting heart rate often decreases, indicating improved cardiovascular efficiency. The body is running cleaner, and then comes day 90. The number that has become a landmark in the retention community. Not arbitrarily, but because 90 days represents approximately 3 complete cycles of sperm production and reabsorption, giving the endocrine system sufficient time to complete a full recalibration. At 90 days, men who have stayed the course describe a version of themselves that feels fundamentally different from who they were at day 1. The confidence is no longer something they are building. It is something they inhabit. The focus is no longer an effort. It is a default. The energy is no longer something they chase. It is something they manage, because it is consistently, reliably present. Purpose becomes clearer. The things that used to distract, that used to pull them into cycles of consumption and numbness, have lost their grip, not through willpower, through biology, through a nervous system that has been given enough time and space to return to its natural operating state. This is the timeline. This is what your body is capable of when you stop treating your own energy as something disposable. When you start understanding that what you carry is not just biological material. It is the raw substrate of your drive, your creativity, your physical vitality, your emotional depth, and your presence in the world. You were never taught this. You were taught the opposite, that release is relief, that retention is repression, that there is nothing meaningful in the choice, but your body has always known the truth. And now, so do you. This is not about being perfect. This is not about rigid rules or shame. This is about awareness, about making an informed choice with full knowledge of what that choice produces. A real man never wastes his energy in toilet or bed sheets. People who tell you masturbation is fine, wait for or next time video on hazard, it causes you, subscribe. Because what we are building here is not a following, it is a standard, a community of men who choose to know rather than to be kept comfortable in ignorance. And before you go, answer this honestly in the comments. If you had known all of this at 15 years old, how different would your life look right now?